what I had even a few days ago of information has changed since then. So this may seem a little scattered, and I apologize for that. But there's a lot of information, and I'll start and see where we head with this. To start off, our teachers worked really hard to prepare those AMIs that we talked about, those alternative methods of instruction on Monday. So to kind of give you some background information on that, DESE was providing schools with the opportunity to submit what they call an AMI plan for them to use for potential inclement weather days for next school year. So it provides an option for schools to deliver instruction in a different way for up to 36 hours. They're now, and that's only those 36 hours of inclement weather day. So they're now encouraging districts, maybe you need to look at doing AMIs, for this year, even though the law doesn't actually kick in until next year. So it's something that we tried to work with our staff we showed them examples of what other states did for AMIs and what some other districts used for AMIs, what that looked like. So when we worked on this, we assumed a school closure was maybe on the horizon, but I'll tell you, we'd hope to at least make it through this week. Our teachers planned those AMI days for in one day for the minimum of 1 week, and then they have a deadline of Monday to complete the next week's lessons. So that way we can get them on our website, get them distributed as needed. On Friday, Pettis County Health Department stated that since there had been no community spread of COVID-19, and since it doesn't seem to be in our area, according to them at that point, we were still able to hold school and events as long as our community members that had those high risk factors, like the elderly, those with chronic lung disease, other chronic health conditions, stay home, and our healthy individuals then follow those CDC guidelines to wash their hands, stay home when they're sick, stay away from others who are sick, and those sorts of things. Then the presidential address seemed to provide a heightened level of concern, and following that, there was information on Monday that there was potentially another case in the Windsor area. So that obviously heightened some other concerns with that regard. And so all of this leads to our school then needing to be prepared for the potential need to close. So on Monday then, we worked really hard. We completely changed our plan to these AMIs. And so it could involve both online learning opportunities and paper pencil learning opportunities because we knew that not everybody would have access. So basically, to kind of give you an idea of an AMI and its purpose, is that it's skills-based, it is fluency practice, it's not meant to be new instructional material, it's for students to work through material that they have received, practice it, and perhaps take it to a deeper level. It's online resources and activities that can be completed without a device, and then enrichment activities that may encourage creativity. Those are the pieces and the guidelines that are given for the AMIs. So in one day, our teachers did a great job of trying to figure out what this looks like. And our tech coordinator, Chandra, she did a fantastic job. They talked about that, organizing these and creating a web page for us so that these would be available for our parents and students. We had a lot to do. And not only were these plans created, but then we had to figure out, well, how do we get them to our students in the future? And if that need arises, what does that look like? So, we're working on that. We place these on our website. Those who have internet access should be able to easily get to those. However, for those who don't have access, again, we have the paper pencil options. We sent them home with the students or student siblings if they weren't here. We are mailing others. We are providing the opportunity for them to come pick it up. And basically, if that doesn't help, if a parent will call, we'll figure out a way to get it out there to them. So remember then the purpose of these AMIs for the period of time through April 3rd is for reviewing skills. And I believe really our teachers given only one day to They really did a phenomenal job thinking, how do I think about doing this in a way that every student has access and can do this? It was a really big concept and big task to do in one day. We told our teachers, hey, best case scenario, we'll have this to use for inclement weather days next year. And worst case scenario, we have them for potential school closure. And unfortunately, it was Tuesday that we had to start sending them home because school was canceled then for today. So going further, DESE's also applied for waivers that would allow for schools to provide meals for students who receive free lunches. And so we're taking advantage of this to provide grab-and-go sack lunches and breakfasts. As students are not encouraged to congregate in the school cafeteria, it'll be a grab-and-go method in these like sack lunches, sack breakfasts. And we're going to begin providing these tomorrow to all students who want them. Similar to our summer school lunch and breakfast program, anyone in the community can have these lunches ages 18 and under, from the hours of 10:30 to 12:30. So, Pettis County Health Department today had a meeting with all Pettis County schools to discuss the coronavirus. The health department learned last night that the positive COVID-19 case in eastern Jackson County and the positive case in Henry County and Clinton, those were through community transmission. Those were not cases that were acquired from travel, but were community spread. Pettis County Health Department agreed, yes, school closure is a good idea. It's time. So they agreed that it was a good decision. Pettis County has no positive tests at this time. They wanted to reiterate that, but they said that doesn't mean it's not here, and that doesn't mean that it's not getting any closer. Guidance yesterday was to hunker down for 15 days, and that's what we're doing with this school closure. It's recommended that everyone but essential staff members stay home. CDC guidance earlier was 8 weeks. That puts us to May 8th from the date that guidance was provided. It's just all scary information when you think of that. It takes 2 to 14 days, they said, for someone infected to show symptoms. So nationally, we're encouraged to stay home if possible for 15 days, and then we evaluate from here. So we realize that the CDC guidance very well could mean that schools will be closed for a longer period of time. They say that they're doing many more tests now, as many more tests are being made available. Therefore, probability is high, they tell us, again, this Pettis County Health Department, that there will be a spike in positive test results in our area for COVID-19. At this point, Bothwell Hospital reports that it has been more inundated with what they refer to as the worried well. They also state that they are still in the middle of a very virulent flu season. So first they have to check to see if it's the flu, and then they see if they need additional testing. And there have been over 2,000 cases of influenza in Pettis County alone this year. Also in this meeting, it was discussed that as we evaluate our staff members and their families who are in the high-risk criteria, that we would see it's probable that a large portion of our staff should be excluded from school. So if you think of those in age groups, if they have various health conditions or their immediate family members do, that it could even be hard for staff members to have enough that could be here. And then as I said, as of this morning, there were 513, and now you say how many, about 540?
That's what I thought.
Okay.
City Channel 9.
Of 555 schools in Missouri had identified as being closed.
I talked to a staff member at Smith Cotton earlier this week, and he said they have several staff members who earlier in the year had all these symptoms. They tested negative for A and B and strep. And he says it's probably here, it's just not identified specifically yet.
And so, yes, and that's exactly what they were referring to as far as when we have more tests, then we'll probably see more testing positive. So Pettis County Health Department today stated that their best guidance is to plan to be done. So that was a hard thing to hear, and we questioned that quite a bit. And so we said, we're going to meet together again as Pettis County Schools and Pettis County Health Department on March 30th to assess where we are at that time and to evaluate the possibility of coming back April 6th, or if we will be closed for a longer period of time. So this tells me we need a lot more guidance from DESE regarding what we can do. We're looking at online learning platforms right now, how to provide families with devices and internet access if those things are lacking, how to survey our families to see what they have, what they don't, in order to see how we can respond to it, if we can respond to it for an online learning platform. So there's a lot of researching to do in order to get that done in a really short period of time to try and plan for that. So, remember, we just made the decision to close yesterday, and there are a lot of tasks to try and complete to figure out how can we get access to our families that don't have access, provide devices for those that don't have adequate devices. So it's a huge undertaking, and then when we're looking at potential online learning platforms, how to provide teachers with the professional development it would take to do all of that at the same time. So, moving on at this moment, we continue to have guidance from Pettis County Health Department to our schools that everyone should stay home. Pettis County Schools discussed this at great length. I talked with Sedalia Schools superintendent at great length about this. And in order to follow those guidelines, but still keep our staff and students safe, we've agreed to completing essential tasks this week for distributing our AMIs, getting student belongings to them, medications that are here at school, all of those types of things. And then the schools are effectively closed to all staff except those needed for essential tasks to move the school forward. So this means that only the superintendent and principals will be here each day. The bookkeeper, tech coordinator will be here only to complete necessary tasks for the operation of the school, and then they go home. Food service will be here initially in the morning as we get breakfast and lunches going, and then we hope to take over the preparing of the meals so that Greta doesn't have to spend much time here either. It's as if staff members are kind of like on paid administrative leave due to community health concerns that are just outside of our control. It's been hard and it's been rough trying to figure out what does this mean and just how serious it is. And I would say that I was one that I wanted to be in denial and not think that it was as serious as Pettis County Health Department is now saying, what we need to do. So again, in this 2.5 week period that we have through April 3rd, we're encouraging our teachers and our paras to stay at home, but we know that there's still going to be some times that they will have to report to the school to assist students with lessons. We have teachers that are already doing some tutoring on Google Hangouts, so some of it's already being arranged virtually, but not all staff members have reliable internet within their own homes. So we're looking in how do we provide services for students that have IEPs. We can't completely shut down this building to our teachers, but we're telling them, or we will be telling them, the communication hasn't come out yet, to stay home as much as possible, work from home as much as they can, and those that do have to come here for essential work tasks to follow those social distancing guidelines. You're not going to be able to collaborate right next to each other. Stay isolated in your classroom. That's a lot of information, but a lot of things have changed and a lot of new information. It's been moment by moment.
I'll tell you, there was a case in Boone County. That case in Boone County came in yesterday. It came into the unit at the hospital where Connor's girlfriend works. She was his nurse, and he passed. Now, that's close to home.
That is close
I
to
mean,
home.
for us, that's close to home. Yeah. I think he was in really bad shape when they got him there, and he was 60.
Well, I think we had talked about, we wanna look forward, you know, we have seniors graduating, they were, even if we have to make a graduation June or July for them, we wanna do something, we're not gonna just skip over it, say we're not gonna do this year, so we gotta postpone it. If we can't get back, we'll figure out something, and when we can get back, and do it for them before they start college, hopefully. I don't wanna let this, the one class out of 100 years doesn't get walked to Greenwich, so we'll figure out, whatever we gotta do to make it work, we'll figure out something.
With the lunches, have we had some sort of survey done, or are we just gonna play it by ear and learn as we go as to how many are coming?
We're just estimating. We estimated on the high side, I had to submit, an application to be accepted with this waiver, and we put 50, just to start, as we looked at, how many we thought might. We can also adjust that later, but that was kind of a high estimate, for us.
So they get lunch and breakfast at the same time?
At the same time, we grab the 2 sacks at the same time. If they want to, they can save the breakfast for tomorrow, or,
So is the school just open for?
Cause they're gonna be at the parking lot, I guess, basically. Or no, they.
Yeah, we have it in the foyer, but, if need be. Now, the student has to be the one to be there for the lunch. Unfortunately, because of the guidelines that we have to follow through this program, a parent can't just say, I got 4 kids at home and it's really a pain to get them all in here. Can you send me? I can't. It has to be given to the student. That's the point of sale. Even though it's free,
And the
they call
hours
that
are
point
what?
of sale. 10:30 to 12:30.
That's eligible, every kid under 18,
Any kid within our community that's,
they don't have to be on the free reduced program ahead of time.
nope, and it is all
Yeah.
free.
I think you've already put out one thing about it, we're gonna try to advertise more, I guess, and try to get people made aware as best we can.
We have lots of communication going out, and
I know.
it's, we don't want it too much to where people aren't seeing everything, so we're trying to get it all out, but not make it too much at the same time.
And Dr. Burkhart mentioned that she got this, the program approved around 4:30 yesterday afternoon, right? And so that was one of the reasons why we didn't get survey, because we didn't have the program approved yet.
Right.
And so that's why we sent the information out as early as we could this morning, because it just got approved last night around 4:30.
And they're, just like you would expect, those that are approving all of these applications, they are inundated as well. So, yeah, that's why it took so long.
Is the lunch and the breakfast the same like all week? There's a difference on different every day?
No, it won't be the same thing, but it'll all be very similar. It's a cold breakfast and a cold lunch. So a cereal and a milk and a fruit and or it could be a Pop-Tart, whatever.
Just whatever
And, a
Reed
sandwich,
is set of that.
it'll be sandwiches, as a cold lunch.
It's food for some of them.
Yeah,
So,
unfortunately, that's,
No chicken patty, mashed potatoes and gravy.
I didn't know if it included
No
milk,
tacos,
it needed to
hot
be kept
tacos
cold,
made
or
out
a
of
bottle of
beef.
water, or
Yeah,
No beef.
yeah,
That's
so-
right.
is it?
So, yeah, it'll all be a whole lunch, all stored, yeah.
So if we can't come back, is we have a whole bunch of food that's gonna go bad for next fall, or not a whole bunch? That's what I mean, it's all pretty frozen or canned, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think that's really a big concern at this time.
and you said the meeting was with the county health department. And every school has their superintendent, or just somebody participating there, or?
Yeah, they all had a superintendent or principal, if it's a small school sometimes, and a school nurse represented if the superintendent couldn't be there, but.
But all the schools were represented,
All
so
Pettis County
everybody has
schools
all
were
the same information at the same time.
Mhm.
So is everybody out now? PC conference schools, they're all out.
I don't know of a school anywhere close to us that's in session.
The one I saw was Eldon put a letter out saying they were gonna stay until somebody had to buy, that was yesterday, but they may change their mind too.
Well, that was the direction originally from the CDC, wasn't it?
That
Well,
was the
they were gonna do it
direction.
until somebody actually in their community had it, they were gonna keep
Yeah.
going to school, they said, but they may change their mind since then too, so. Yeah, it's not worth risking your students, your staff, or parents at home, grandparents at home.
You said March 30th is the next,
March 30th is our next meeting.
so we're just
With the
kinda-
health center?
with Health Center and all Pettis County superintendents.
Kind of up there until then as to what the next step is or how long.
Just stay home. That's the next
But
Stay
between
home.
now and then, Desi may come out with other information.
They could.
Well, as of now, Governor Parks said he wasn't gonna cancel school, because there are some places that are maybe really remote, they don't have a need to at the time. It's up to them, he didn't wanna do it. Unlike Kansas, where it's cut the
Kansas
state down. So, this time, you may have a town way up northeast Missouri that's secluded, that doesn't need to worry about it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, anybody have any questions on that? I know we have a reason, we need to go to closed session for personnel and student issues.